So, guys, welcome to Enzo Ball. We're looking at the World Cup disappointments. So far, so good. The World Cup disappointments. The World Cup is just some few days to end of FIFA World Cup, and some of the disappointment that we've seen so far at the FIFA World Cup has been top notch. A lot of disappointing teams. I've watched a lot of games in this World Cup, and some teams were so disappointing. Some teams were so disappointing, and also some players were also disappointing too. I want to pick some teams that I believe were so disappointing. Teams like the German machine. The German team was so disappointing. If you ask me, Germany were totally disappointing in this tournament. The German team were total disappointment. In the past times we used to have the German machine. We used to have the German machine. Comes with good football, but right now, what I'm seeing in Germany, ah, we're going to the chart. Remember the guy, price. Okay. So, guys, make sure you join the charts. We're looking at the most disappointing team so far, so good. The most disappointing team in this tournament. As far as I'm concerned, the most disappointing team is Germany. One of the most disappointing teams is Germany. Germany has not actually been doing well at the FIFA World Cup. Germany has not actually been doing well at the World Cup. Germany has been disappointing, if you ask me. Now, after Germany won the 2014 World Cup, guess what? Germany have not had any impact whatsoever at the FIFA World Cup ever since they won the World Cup. They've not had any impact. 2018 World Cup, they were eliminated in the group stage. 2022 World Cup, Germany were eliminated in the group stage. Now, fast forward down the lane, 2026, Germany were eliminated in the 2026 World Cup in the round of 32. That's how bad Germany football is. But we're not seeing it from this angle because we are beclouded by the world, by Italy not making it to the World Cup. I can tell you categorically that German football is even worse than that of Italian football right now. The whole world know that Italian football is done, buried already. But German football, the way they are going, they may start swimming like the way they was and the Italian were swimming. I can't even recognize Germany when it comes to World Cup performances. Ever since they won that 2014 World Cup, their football has just been what? Has just gone down the drain. Germany is a disappointment when it comes to this World Cup. I'm so disappointed with the German machine because this Germany team, in the last 5 tournaments, they've not made any impact in world football, including the Euros. In the past, I remember in the early 90s, when we used to talk about German machine, we see Germany as a top team, a top tied teams. But right now, this German team that I'm seeing, they are not a team that is so good. They're not that good at all. So Germany is one of my disappointing team in this tournament. The next disappointing team is the Orange Boys, the Netherlands. Now people will say that at least they tried. Now the Dutch is always a tournament team. If you follow football very well, the Orange Boys or the Orange that we used to call them, the Dutch team, they always get to the at least quarterfinals of major tournaments. But guess what? This Dutch team were eliminated by Morocco. Not just that they were eliminated, they were outplayed and outclassed by Morocco. They were eliminated in the round of 32. That is Holland, the Netherlands. This is not the Netherlands that we used to know. And their pattern of play against Morocco was questionable. When you watch Holland play in the 80s or 90s, in short, what made me fell in love with Holland in 1998 was where they played. 98 World Cup, Holland had Kluivert, Dennis Bergkamp, Mark Overmars, Aaron Winter, a lot of these guys. The way the Dutch play, they don't play to win. They play for a good brand of football. But this particular Dutch team I'm seeing, they are weak. They are so weak. They don't even play good football. Against Morocco, the way these guys play, I was like, is this Holland? Is it the Netherlands? So the Netherlands are one of the biggest disappointment in this World Cup. Then the next disappointing team in this World Cup is Portugal. What would I say? Portugal were tipped to be one of the favorites coming to this tournament. Portugal were tipped to be one of the tournament favorites. But guess what? Portugal became a chaotic team. The worst team, if you ask me, in this tournament is Portugal. Before this tournament, we were all singing the song that, oh, Portugal had Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo, they have Nuno Mendes, they have the Ruben Diaz, they have Bernardo Silva, they have Rafael Leao. But guess what? They didn't play anything. They played shit in this tournament. Portugal played shit in this tournament. They are the biggest disappointment in this tournament, Portugal. They struggle in all their matches. Portugal literally struggle in all their matches. The only match they played well, they didn't even play, they just played well, was against Uzbekistan. That was the only match the Portuguese team played well. The rest, against DR Congo, rubbish. Against Colombia, it was even worse against Colombia. Against Croatia, that was the final. Against Croatia, that was worse. Not until they were eliminated in the group stage. It's as bad as that. Portugal were bad. Portugal were terrible. With all the hype. Oh, Portugal have Bruno Fernandes. Oh, they have Vitinha. Oh, they have João Neves. They have Ronaldo. They have Ruben Diaz. They have Rafael Leao. They have Gundes. They have a lot of shit. But guess what? They were eliminated. They played a disastrous football, Portugal. That is why Portugal is one of the biggest disappointments in this tournament. My next biggest disappointment in this tournament is Brazil. The last time Brazil won the World Cup, I was in SS1. That was the last time Brazil won the World Cup, 2002. Brazil has left, sure, football has left Brazil. That's the truth. In the last 10 years, I can tell you categorically that football had left Brazil. What Brazil is dwelling on is their past glory. Brazil, football has left the Samba boys of Brazil. Brazil, if Brazil is playing AFCON, I can tell you that they will not win AFCON. That's how bad Brazil is. Brazil is bad. The last Brazilian team that appeared at the World Cup that I can say is Brazil was in 2006. That Brazil team that had Ronaldo, Adriano, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Juninho, Carlos, and the rest. That was the last Brazil team. The rest are just junk. So I wasn't surprised when Brazil were eliminated by the Norwegians. I wasn't surprised. And for the record, for some of you that don't know, Brazil have not defeated Norway in international football. I repeat, for the record, Brazil have not defeated Norway in international football. That should tell you that Norway has always been their boogie team. So Brazil is one of the biggest disappointments at this FIFA World Cup. So disappointed in the Brazilian national team. Another disappointment in this World Cup is Uruguay. Now, Uruguay, in a group that has or comprises of Spain, Saudi Arabia, and Cabo Verde, Uruguay were the biggest disappointments. Uruguay did not win any match in that group. Uruguay were eliminated in that group, from that group. Uruguay only had 1 point from that group, and that was the point they had against Saudi Arabia. That was how bad Uruguay has been in the last couple of years. Ever since Luis Suarez, Edison Cavani left their national team, Uruguay has been a shadow of itself. So that is one of the disappointments in this FIFA World Cup. So these are the biggest disappointments at the FIFA World Cup. Now let's focus on the players, the most disappointing players at this FIFA World Cup. I have a lot of players that were disappointing at this World Cup. A lot of them. Let me start with Bruno Fernandes as my number one. Bruno Fernandes, to me, has been one of the most disappointing players in this tournament. This was a player that was coming from the brink of the highest number of assists at the FIFA World Cup. This was a player that has the highest number of assists at the World Cup. Coming to this tournament, people thought of, oh, he's going to give assists to Ronaldo and the rest. But guess what? Bruno Fernandes became a failure, a total failure at this tournament. That's how bad Bruno Fernandes was. He was a total failure in this tournament. I keep asking my question. Bruno Fernandes that had 21 Premier League assists just some few months ago came to this World Cup with so much rating. But unfortunately, this is what the Portuguese team had. Bruno Fernandes has been a disappointment at this FIFA World Cup. Another disappointment in this World Cup is Vitinha. Yes, Vitinha. We all saw what Vitinha did in the Champions League. We saw all what Vitinha did in the Champions League. We saw the way he controlled the midfield for PSG. But guess what? At this World Cup, Vitia is just a shadow of itself. Vitia is just a shadow of itself. That's the truth. Now people don't realize that Vitia at PSG was someone that slowed the tempo down, someone that dictated the tune of the game. But unfortunately, Vitia, all what we saw from Vitia was passing the ball sideways, backward, sideways, backward. That is why Vitia has been one of the most disappointing players in this tournament. Vitia. Another player that has disappointed me in this tournament is, I would say Ronaldo. Ronaldo. I would say Ronaldo actually, because Ronaldo is already. We all know that Ronaldo had already passed the prime since. So I won't call Ronaldo in the as part of the disappointing players at this tournament. So I'll go to another player that have actually disappointed me in this tournament. Actually, so let me tell you the one player that disappointed me in this tournament. I'll tell you now. So let me tell you, Joshua Kimmich. Now people will say, why am I mentioning Kimmich? Kimmich has been in the German team for how long now? Joshua Kimmich is a versatile player. He plays two and he plays as a midfielder. At this tournament, Kimmich didn't really do anything for Germany. I repeat, Joshua Kimmich didn't really do well for Germany. He has been disappointing. He has been disappointing. So you can see that there are some players that are totally, they're just like, I don't know. And again, let me go to the coaches or managers that have actually disappointed me at this FIFA World Cup. I'll start with the Portuguese coach or the former Portuguese coach, Roberto Martinez. Roberto Martinez has been a disappointing. He has been disappointed actually. Roberto Martinez should never be given any golden generation job to handle. I repeat, Roberto Martinez should never be given a golden generation job to manage. That guy has been a failure when it comes to managing golden generations of national teams. Roberto Martinez was a coach of Belgium when they had their golden generation. He was the manager of Belgium when they had the Eden Hazards of this world, the Lukakus of this world, the Kevin De Bruyne's of this world, the Nigonas of this world. He was their manager. And guess what? He useless a golden generation of Belgian national team. And Roberto Martinez handled Portugal, the so-called golden generation of Portugal in this tournament. And we have seen how Portugal fare in the World Cup. Total failure. So to me, Roberto Martinez should never be given a golden generation job to handle because he has failed in all ramification. He has failed totally. How can you handle a golden generation like Portugal and you are failing woefully? This is unacceptable. So to me, Martinez is the most disappointing coach in this tournament. Another coach that have actually disappointed me in this tournament is Ronald Koeman, the Dutch former manager, Koeman. I don't know why Holland tend to recycle coaches or managers, Holland and Italy. Koeman is a failure. Any job he gets is always failing. He has coached the Dutch national team twice or three times now, and he has failed in flying colors. Ronald Koeman has coached the Holland national team or the Netherlands national team three times, and he has failed. This same coach was a former Barcelona coach that failed woefully, and you soon bring him back. Against Morocco, Netherlands were playing as if Morocco were Netherlands and Netherlands was Morocco. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. And I don't understand why this guy will be given this job. Every time he keep giving him this job and he keep failing. He keep failing. So Koeman is one of those disappointing managers at this tournament. Another disappointing manager in this tournament, like I mentioned earlier, one of them is the Senegalese coach, Antoine Pape. He won the AFCON, but in this tournament, he has been disappointing. Mostly the match against Belgium. Senegal were leading 2-0. The Teranga Lions were leading 2-0. 10 minutes to end the match, they allowed Belgium to equalize and win in extra time. Senegal only won one match at this tournament. That was again the match against Iraq. That was the only match the Senegal won. The coach has been so bad, so bad, so bad. If you ask me, so bad. So it is what it is. The tournament has just been disappointing. Many top teams that you put your mind will perform were actually disappointing. I've listed them and I'll keep listing them. Many players that you thought will lift up to the billing are also disappointing. Many coaches that you thought will be there with their 8 games were also disappointing in this tournament, which is so sad. It's sad, but that's the reality on ground. It's sad. So for the record, the most disappointing countries in this tournament, or the most disappointing team in this tournament, are Germany, Portugal, the Netherlands, Brazil. These are my 4 most disappointing teams at this FIFA World Cup. Yeah, Germany, Portugal, the Netherlands, and Brazil. They are the most disappointing team in this tournament. Let's start with Portugal. Portugal with the arrays of stars. Portugal with the hype. Everybody thought Portugal will even do something magnificent. But guess what? They came to this tournament to deceive themselves. No unity. Teams were not playing for each other. Chaos in the camp. Players not knowing what to do with the ball. Players playing sideways passes, backward passes. That's what Portugal were doing. Portugal, people would have thought that, oh, Portugal is one of the favorites to win the World Cup before the tournament started. But guess what? They played shambolic football in this tournament, Portugal. They are so disappointing to watch. It's so disappointing to watch, Portugal. My second most disappointing team in this tournament is Germany. Germany, ever since they won the 2014 World Cup, their football has gone down the spiral. Germany football has gone down the drain. Germany, as their football is now nonsense. Because you keep asking, this was the German team that dominated in the 90s, 80s, and the rest. Ever since they won that 2014 World Cup. In 2018 World Cup, they were eliminated in the group stage. At the 2022 World Cup, they were eliminated in the group stage. In 2026 World Cup, they were eliminated in the round of 32. That's how bad the German team were. I'm so disappointed in German machine. And also their manager, Nagelsmann. He has been a disappointment, a failure in all ramifications. He failed at the Euros. He failed at the World Cup. So another team that disappointed me at this World Cup is Brazil. Although Brazil, I wasn't shocked with the defeat to Norway. I wasn't shocked that they were eliminated by Norway. But I was shocked with the manner they played against Norway and the manner they've been playing. How can you explain to me that Brazil, of all countries, had 38 ball possession against Norway in world football? Can someone explain that to me? That Brazil had 38% ball possession against Norway. This is not France, Norway. And I always say this, Brazil, the only thing Brazil could do now to get to that level is for them to stop playing like what? Like Europeans. That's the only thing that will make Brazil to start playing, because they keep playing like Europeans. Brazil doesn't have European heritage when it comes to football. Brazil is known for what? Playing good football. That is what we fell in love with Brazil in the 90s. You said Spain versus England World Cup final. This is a prediction. I have to screenshot it. I think I like your prediction. Spain versus England. I think that is almost my prediction. If you ask me, I think Spain will get to the final, but I'm scared France will defeat them. My own prediction would be I'm predicting France versus England. That's my prediction. France England final. That's France England final. That's my own prediction. France versus England final. That will be my prediction. I believe France will beat Spain. If they beat Morocco tonight or tomorrow, they will beat this. This is my own World Cup prediction. So I think you're almost close, but to me, I believe France has still the favorite to win the World Cup. If you ask me, France has still the favorite to win the World Cup. So it's shocking. Brazil needs to come back to their South American level of playing football. You can't be playing like the Europeans. If you grow up watching the Seleção of Brazil, the Samba Boys in the 90s, brother, Brazil played one of the most exciting football I've seen in the 90s. Brazil at the 1998 World Cup or 2002 World Cup, Brazil were having players coming from the bench to change games. They had Denisi, they had Rivaldo, they had Ronaldo, they had Ronaldinho, they had Cafu, they had Lucio, they had Biano, they had Carlos, they had Dida, they had Marcos. This was squad. This was Brazilian squad. This was Brazilian squad. Not this one we are having. Not the so-called Vinicius Juniors and his gang. I feel like Portugal is the worst. Yeah, I've mentioned that Portugal is the worst. I mentioned Portugal earlier. They are the worst team in this tournament. Portugal. They are the worst. They are even worse than Brazil. Thank you very much, my brother. They are worse than Brazil, Portugal. After all, they are worse. I've never seen a country with so much hype messing up at the World Cup. Because I'm going to make, I have a video on Portugal, specially made for Portugal on my channel. Their midfield were embarrassing. With the hype, oh, they had Vitia, oh, they had João Neves, oh, they had Bruno Fernandes. I didn't see any of such at the World Cup. I didn't see any of such impact at the World Cup. Bruno Fernandes was the best assist in Europe. Oh, 21 Premier League assists. Gosh, this guy irritates at the World Cup. Bruno Fernandes was shit. You had 21 Premier League assists at the Premier League level. You couldn't translate it at the biggest stage in world football. You see, this is why I sometimes don't blame Roy Keane for saying some of those things against Bruno Fernandes. It's a fact. Roy Keane is spitting the facts. This guy only performs well at United. He only performs well where he's a bigger fish. But when he gets to a team where he's no longer the bigger fish, he messed up big time. See his performance against for Portugal. Portugal is embarrassing. With the arrays of stars Portugal had at that World Cup, they couldn't give me a good game. Portugal did not produce any good match. So I support you, my brother. Portugal were so disappointing. Where do you think is wrong, Ronaldo, the coach? Portugal problem is cumbersome. Let me use the word cumbersome. Ronaldo is one of the problem. The coach is a major problem. The players themselves are major problem. Now, let me tell you why I mentioned each one of them at fault. I won't single out one player or one individual as the fault of Portugal. Portugal had a player problem, Ronaldo problem, and the coach problem. Let me start with the Cristiano Ronaldo's problem. Ronaldo at 41 years shouldn't be playing all matches. That's the fact. At that age, you can't cheat nature. At that age, I expect Ronaldo to be what? To be a leader. Should have what? Sat some games down, or should have asked for what? Substitution sometimes, and should have brought Khan to the dressing room. You shouldn't play all games. That is where I fault Ronaldo. He should have maintained the stand of what? An elder statesman in the team. Oh, I can't play every game. Let me give some of these young boys chance. You understand that? That's why I fought Ronaldo. You can't cheat at all. Ronaldo is 41 years. There's no how he can play till that kingdom come. That's where I had Ronaldo fought. And Ronaldo is not a player that press. You watch the match against Spain. He was not strolling. He couldn't run because the age has caught up with him. Then let me go to the coach. Martinez is the worst coach I've seen in world football. With due respect, Martinez, if you have a golden generation, don't give Martinez that job to undo. We all saw what Martinez did at Belgium. We all saw what he did for the Belgian national team. A Belgian team that had a golden generation with the Eden Hazards of this world, with the Lukakus of this world, with the Kevin De Bruyne's of this world. Martinez went there and rubbished that so-called golden generation of Belgian football. And this same Martinez has been given the job to undo a golden generation of Portuguese football. Guess what he did with the team? Chaos. He made the golden generation of Portuguese football look so abnormal, look so shamble, look so dilapidated at the World Cup. Martinez is never a good coach. Never. I don't know why he's so lucky to get some of these top grade A coaches in Europe, job in Europe. I don't know why Martinez is so lucky to have such avalanche of jobs in Europe. So to me, I blame the coach, I blame the player, I blame Ronaldo. Now, let me go to the players. Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, João Neves. These are jokes. Any person that tell me these guys are world-class players, I have to question their integrity. I'm sorry to say, if you tell me these guys are world-class players, I need to question you. Because if you're a world-class player, You won't be playing those sideways back passes, sideways back. Do you see Bruno Fernandes impact at the World Cup? I didn't see anyone. Apart from the assist he gave Ronaldo against Uzbekistan, I didn't see Bruno Fernandes impact at the World Cup. I never see that. Vitia, the same Vitia I watched for PSG, the same Vitia we watched winning the Champions League for Paris Saint-Germain, became a Mickey Mouse, passing the ball backward, sideways, backward, sideways. You see where the players, does it mean that the players don't know the importance of this game? How about Joao Neves? I saw Rodri overcoming their midfield. Rodri of Man City overcoming the Portuguese midfielders. I saw a 40-year-old Luka Modric dominate this so-called best midfield generation in world football. I saw a 40-year-old Luka Modric, a 36-year-old Kovacic dominating their midfield. It's appalling. So Portugal is the biggest disappointment, biggest one of all time. And luckily for them, they'll be hosting the next World Cup. So I believe they can do well in the next World Cup because they have a new coach now, Jesus. Okay, Jesus is their new coach now. So I believe they will do well in the next World Cup to come. I think they will do well because they are one of the host countries. So they may likely do well at the next FIFA tournament. I think they should do well. But to me, Bruno Fernandes should be ashamed of himself. Should be ashamed of himself. Because I don't know. Because I don't think I will ever rate Bruno Fernandes. I can't rate him. I don't think I can rate him again. Now I see what Roy Keane often say about Bruno Fernandes. The only place Bruno Fernandes shine is at the theatre of dreams, Manchester United. When last has Bruno shined for the Portuguese team in a tournament? When last has Bruno Fernandes shined in the Portuguese team in a major tournament? When last? This guy doesn't give Portugal what he gives United. He doesn't do that. Now that Ronaldo has gone, now let's see what they'll do. Although with this their new coach, Jesus, I believe anything will do well. But to me, Bruno Fernandes, I don't rate Bruno Fernandes. I don't think I rate him. It's not nice. I rate him. I have watched a lot of midfield trial in world football. I've seen the way they played. I've watched Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, Sergio Busquets play for the Spanish national team. I've seen the way these guys played. Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, Busquets, Sergio Busquets. The way these guys play for Spain, they understand the terrain. They know when to pass, when to give killer passes, when to split pass, when to control the momentum. They know when to detect it soon. I also see Tra play for France, Pogba, N'Golo Kante, Antoine Griezmann. These are Tra now. I've seen them play, and they understand what it means to play for their national team badge. They understand what it means to play for their respective national team. Now we have a so-called best trial midfield in world football. Joao Neves, Bruno Fernandes, Vitia, and we saw the rubbish they gave us in the World Cup. We saw how shallow these guys were. So when Roy Keane speaks, I think I have to switch to Roy Keane right now. I was one of those people that was arguing against Roy Keane, the way he called out Bruno Fernandes last season. But right now, I'm seeing why Roy Keane is saying this to Bruno Fernandes. I don't rate Bruno Fernandes. Sorry, my United fans in the house. I'm sorry I don't rate your player, Bruno Fernandes. I don't rate him. I don't rate Bruno Fernandes. I'm sorry, I don't rate him. He can shine at the Theatre of Dreams at Old Trafford. He can shine in Premier League. But when it comes to bigger stage, this guy is a flop. Bruno Fernandes is a flop when it comes to the national team. He's a flop. If you can tell me any tournament that Bruno Fernandes has shined with the Portuguese national team, please you can write it in the chat. Let me know if there's any tournament that Bruno Fernandes has shined for the Portuguese national team. Please write it down in the comment section or in the chats, because I've watched Portugal a lot, and I don't think Bruno Fernandes has given anything to this Portuguese team in any tournament. It doesn't come out alive. But if you go to the Premier League, if you get to the Theatre of Dreams, Old Trafford, he'll start giving assists. How many forward passes did Bruno Fernandes had at the World Cup? I'm sorry, I'm calling Bruno Fernandes out, because he was the main character to this World Cup for the Seleção of Portugal. Take away Ronaldo. Ronaldo is shit. He's old already. He can't give you anything. That's why I'm not calling Ronaldo. Ronaldo has given his all. In the last 2 decades, Ronaldo has done well for this team. So I'm not calling it because he's 41 years. He has given all. To right now, everybody knows that in the past 5 years, Ronaldo has aged and he can't give you anything. It's already done. But for Bruno Fernandes, it's appalling. Not at all. Okay. So to me, Portugal are disappointing. Bruno Fernandes, I'm calling it out because a player who broke the assist record last season in the Premier League, much supposed to be expected for such player in the World Cup. I struggle to see. I couldn't count more than one forward pass Fernandes had at the World Cup. How many forward passes did Bruno had at the World Cup? Against Croatia, a 40-year-old Luka Modric seized the midfield of Portugal. Against Croatia, a 40-year-old Luka Modric seized the midfield. That's how bad they were at the World Cup. Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, Juan Neves, they were bad. They were not that good. So Portugal are the biggest disappointment at the World Cup. Because before the tournament, I was one of those people that thought that Portugal are going to win the World Cup based on what I saw from these players from their various club side. I was one of those people that tipped Portugal to win the World Cup. But that first game against DR Congo, I started questioning my own sense of thinking. So to me, Portugal is number one. Brazil, Germany, the Netherlands, these are disappointing teams at the World Cup. So I was talking about the Brazilian team before I delved to Portugal. Brazil team has been disappointing. The last time Brazil won the World Cup, I was in SS1 2002. I was in secondary school then when they won the World Cup, and that team was superb. Brazil don't play European football. It's sad that right now Brazil are playing European football. Yes, we all thought they'll be the one winning the World Cup. Yeah, we tipped Portugal to win the World Cup, but unfortunately, they never get their acts together. They were just messed up big time. I tipped them to win the World Cup. We all tipped them to win the World Cup, but they were just nothing. They were not good enough. I think they've learned their lesson. They will host the next World Cup. Hopefully, they win the World Cup when they host next time without Ronaldo. So to me, Brazil, the only way out for Brazil is for Brazil to switch. To switch towards the samba, the jogo bonito kind of football. If Brazil continue playing like Europeans, they will not get it right. I repeat, if Brazil continue to play like Europeans, they will not win the World Cup. They will not win the World Cup the way they are playing. When was the last time Brazil played in the semi-finals of the World Cup? That was when they drew the match. Or that was last time they hosted a tournament. That was last time Brazil actually played in the semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup. What has Brazil done ever since they won the World Cup? What have they done ever since they won the World Cup? They haven't done anything. Yes, Brazil, its second place disappoints. Disappointed. Do you think bringing Neymar was a good idea? I did a content on that. Why Neymar was going? Why would Ancelotti take Neymar? Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 2 minutes. Let me meet someone. Okay, so I'm back. So sorry. So I made a video on Neymar, taking Neymar to the World Cup instead of João Pedro of Chelsea. Because taking Neymar was more of emotional. Neymar was taken to that World Cup not because he was qualified. It was taken for two reasons: emotions and experience. That was all. And it was duly due towards emotion from the Brazilian fans, from their FA, and some of the fans. That was why they took Neymar to the World Cup. Neymar wasn't really playing better than Pedro. They needed a Pedro, but they had to drop somebody, and Ancelotti got it wrong there because everybody was screaming Neymar, Neymar, Neymar. He was taken there for two reasons: experience and emotions. And we all knew how it all went. Neymar didn't really do much at the World Cup because of injuries. So to me, the idea of taking Neymar to the World Cup wasn't that good. At the same time, if you want to take Neymar to the World Cup, why don't you drop another player and take Juan Pedro? Because to me, ask me, you took this guy from Brentford. What is his name? Igor. I didn't see any of Igor's presence at the World Cup. You should have taken Neymar, then Juan Pedro of Chelsea, because Igor didn't do anything at the World Cup. Did you see Arunai Ronaldo disappoint social media posts after the Norway game? No, no, no. I didn't see Arunai Ronaldo's social media post. Can you just brief me on what he said in his handle? Can you just brief me after the game? Because the last time I checked, Arunai also lost to Norway at the France 98 World Cup. He was there when Norway defeated them 2-1. So he shouldn't bring all those things. Although he's a great player, one of the best nine in the world actually, or the best in the world actually. Can you just brief me on what Arunai said on his social media post so that I can look at it and dissect it? So like I was saying earlier, Brazil are quite disappointing at this World Cup. They are the most disappointing. He blamed the coach. Everybody's going to blame the coach, Carlos Ancelotti. Now, let's be realistic here. Why did he blame the coach? Is it Don Carlo that said that Endrich should lose that one-on-one? Endrich had a one-on-one against Norway, and his touches were just too heavy. Is it Endrich that said that Joao Mares and Bruno to lose the penalty? Gumeres or what? Bruno. It wasn't Carlo Ancelotti that said that was Bruno should lose the penalty. They had a penalty in the first half. Bruno went to take the spot kick and he missed. That wasn't Carlo Ancelotti's fault. Endrich had a one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he missed. It told the team they picked was totally wrong for Brazil. The last time I checked, Carlo Ancelotti is a former manager to Arunai Ronaldo at AC Milan. He was one who brought Arunai to AC Milan, and I believe Carlo Ancelotti is a great manager. It didn't work out well for him because he was trying to play the un-Brazilianized way of football. Let me use the word un-Brazilianized way of football. Brazil is not known to play like this. What Carlo brought in was to bring the main Italian kind of football to Brazil. Now, if you check the stats, Brazil versus Norway, look at the stats. Brazil had 38 ball possession against Norway. When last have you seen Brazil having a low ball possession against any European country? When last? That was too low. That is where I will blame Carlo Ancelotti, because it was too reserved. The Brazil team that I grew up watching, the Arunais, the Ronaldinho, the Dunga, the Bebetos, the Romario, the Denucci, these guys, I can't remember them sitting back. They don't sit back. Brazil play what is called the Jogo Bonito, the Samba football. They attack. But right now, it is what it is. They don't have it again. So to me, blaming Carlo Ancelotti shouldn't come out from Arunai. Arunai should just relax. His era has come and gone. The only thing for Brazil is for them to work towards the next World Cup. They should allow Carlos Ancelotti to build this team. What this team need is team and discipline. So I will not come here and blame Carlo Ancelotti, because to me, he was given his job just some few months ago. That was last year. He was given his job actually, and he was trying to build a team like what he did at Real Madrid. But this is national team football. If you don't have it, you don't have it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. So I will not blame Carlo Ancelotti like Arunai did. I will not blame that. So I can remember some years back, I said something that the way Brazil is drifting away from their normal traditional football, it will hurt them. And guess what? It has hurt them right now. Brazil no longer play the Samba football. Brazil no longer play the Jogo Bonito football. What they play is more of European football. That's what Brazil plays. And if you are playing European football against any team at the World Cup, they know you are playing European football against a European opponent like Norway that has a certain Erling Haaland. It's going to hurt you. Erling Haaland alone is better than all Brazilian strikers in the past 10 years. That's a fact. I repeat, Erling Haaland alone is better than all Brazilian strikers in the last 10 years, and you are playing against him, and you are sitting back, trying to play on the counter, don't you think it's going to hurt you? That is where I may blame Carlo Ancelotti for giving Norway those time on the ball. Brazil in the era of Kaká or the era of Ronaldo and the rest, they won't do such. They will attack. They said that was the best form of defense is what? It's attack. You need to attack. You are not attacking much, and you gave Haaland that space. He's going to take it. So they were punished for their own negligence, because in the first half, Brazil had a chance to have scored. Bruno missed the penalty. Endrich, second half, Endrich had a chance to have scored. He missed a one-on-one due to his heavy touch. So Brazil have the sense to blame. I will not blame Carlo Ancelotti fully, but he has his own blame, but I won't blame him fully. I think Brazil needs to work towards winning the next World Cup. That's what they should do now. They have good players actually, but they have to start working hard to win the World Cup. So he told the team the pick was totally wrong. It's not the coach. Carlo Ancelotti is the coach. He made the right decision. And for the record, Brazil, most of the Brazilian players, they don't play with flair again. They are all, like I said, they are all based in Europe. They play more of European football, and it's affecting them. Imagine look at the forward Brazil that's going to be taken to the World Cup. Martinelli, Igor Thiago. Look at these are not top notch nine or top notch player. With due respect with these guys, they're not. So the next disappointing team is the Netherlands, the Orange, like they call them over there in Holland, the Orange Boys. It's sad. One of the biggest mistakes the Dutch FA always do is recycling of coaches. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Do you know how many times Holland or Netherlands tend to sack and hire the same manager? Do you know how many times someone like Louis van Gaal has coached the national team? Do you know how many times Ronald Koeman has coached the national team of Holland? They keep recycling managers, and that is not good for them. Ronald Koeman, for the like of me, is not a good coach. Yes, Ronald Koeman, for the like of me, is not a good coach. Ronald Koeman has been failing in the last 10 years as a manager. He was former manager of Barcelona, former manager of the Dutch team, failing. Look at the match against Morocco. I was thinking that Morocco was the prime Brazil playing Holland. That was how bad Holland were or Netherlands were. I was thinking this was the prime Brazil. Morocco team were Brazil, the prime Brazil team playing Holland. That was how bad the Netherlands were. And it's not that Holland does not have players. The Netherlands have good players. They have Gakpo, they have Van Dijk. They have some players that can hold their own against the good players in world football. But unfortunately, this is what it is. When you have a poor manager, a manager that doesn't have the tactics needed, the team will suffer. And Ronald Koeman is a good example of such manager that don't have that tactics. Ronaldo Nazario largely blamed Carlo Ancelotti for Brazil's elimination from the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The legendary striker questioned the Italian coach tactics decision and said the mistake from him. From the bench, see the fate of the Salafa. Yeah, everybody will want to blame the coach. When a team lost, the first person you point your finger to is a coach. That is normal thing in football. When a team lose or lost a match, the first person you point your finger to is the coach. So it's normal. I understand the feelings. From the Brazilian legends. Zero point out to the coach. It's normal. But I don't think the Brazilian FA will sack Ancelotti. I don't think they'll sack him. He has a long-term contract with them. So they want him to build towards the next World Cup, 2030 World Cup. Because if they sack him now, that will halt their progress in football. So they want to give Don Carlo a free hand to walk towards the 2030 World Cup. Like I said, the last time Brazil won the World Cup was in 2000, so that was years back. That was when I was in my SS1. as a teenager. That was years back. And Brazil is no longer the Brazil of yesteryears. You all know that. Brazil team is weak. Brazil don't have that pool of talent coming up or coming on or coming through. They don't have it again. They don't have that pool of talent where you have in the past. Oh, this one is playing for this. Oh, they have Martini, they have Gilberto Silva, they have Juninho, oh, they have Kaká, they have Robinho, they have the Batista, they have Ronaldinho, they have Ronaldo. They don't have it again. They don't have it again. What Brazil have is Martinelli, Igor Thiago, João Pedro. That's what they have. They don't have it again. What they have in their midfield is Casemiro, an aging Casemiro. That is Brazilian best midfielder. An aging Casemiro is Brazilian midfielder. Look at the Brazilian midfielders at this World Cup. Which of those players had flair in them? Look at the Brazilian midfielders that played at the World Cup. Which of them had flair? None. Casemiro doesn't dribble, doesn't have flair. Bruno doesn't have flair. They don't have those kind of players again. So they should accept reality and give Carlo Ancelotti a free hand to work. The project for Brazil should be the 2030 World Cup. That should be the project for Brazil. How to win the 2030 World Cup. That should be Brazil's project. Operation Win 2030 World Cup. Not only that are blaming Don Carlo. So to me, Brazil has a lot of work to do. They have to just give Carlo Ancelotti the free hand to work for them to achieve success. If not, they will just remain static. So, like I was saying before, concerning the Orange Boys, the Netherlands, their football has gone down the lane. The Netherlands football has gone down the lane, and it's obvious. It's obvious. Gone are those days when we mentioned Holland. You know that these teams, Holland produced some of the best players in world football. I remember my favorite Dutch team was the team that played at the France 98 World Cup. I can't forget that team. That team was my favorite Dutch team. That team had players like Patrick Kluivert, Dennis Beckham, Philippe Coco, Seedorf, Mark Overmars, Edgar Davies, Jaap Stam, Edwin van der Sar, Aaron Winter, Frank de Boer. Oh, shit. Oh, you see, now look at what they have. They have Summer V. That's what they have now. Summer V and the rest. So you see that some of these big teams, their production line has dried up. Some of these big teams in world football, then their production line has dried up totally. Look at Italy. Italy is gone. Italy is gone. Italy has not participated in the last 3 World Cups. Do you know what that means? Some of these big teams, their production line is down. When you mention Italy, you see discipline, you see tactical awareness, defensive discipline. You see players like Maldini, Costa Curta, Nesta, Totti, Del Piero, Baggio, Inzaghi, Cannavaro, Del Piero. Oh shit! How the mighty falling? How the mighty falling? It's somehow football has left the big teams. They don't know. Only few of the big teams are churning in players from their production line. Only few of the big teams. And it's sad. It's sad. Look at Germany. Germany that just won the 2014 World Cup. In the last 3 World Cup, Germany have been eliminated in the group stage and also the round of 32 now. Germany team that won the 2014 World Cup with players like Toni Kroos, Mesut Ozil, Miroslav Klose, and the rest. Check what Germany is. 2018, they were eliminated in the group stage. 2022, they were eliminated in the group stage. 2026, they also eliminated in the world round of 32. Their production line is no longer stable. Their production line is dying. Some of these big teams, footballers, their production line is down. It has dried up. They are not producing players again. The same thing with Brazil. Just imagine Brazil is going to the World Cup and there's no players in their midfield that has flair in them. Just imagine that. Brazil is going to the World Cup and no player in the midfield has flair. Casemiro, no flair. Bruno Guimaraes, no flair. Just that. No flair. In 2006, when I watched Brazil midfield, I saw flair. I can't fear. I was like, this is Brazil midfield 2006 World Cup. Remember the World Cup in 2006? So that World Cup, that Brazil squad is the highest all-star squad I've seen in world football. Yes, that Brazil squad that went to the 20s, that went to the Germany 2006 World Cup was the highest number of all-star squad I've seen in world football. Look at the midfield of that Brazil team. They have Flair, they have Juninho, they have Kaká, they have Gilberto Silva, and they have Ronaldo. You see the midfield. You see how that midfield has Flair in them. But now what do they have? Bruno Guimaraes, Casemiro. It's how are the mighty falling? It's sad, but they should now know that reality has it's hard on them. It's right now that some of these so-called big teams need to go down to the world, go back to the drawing board, and see what they are doing wrongly. Their production line is dying. Italy is no longer a football powerhouse. They've not been to the World Cup in 3 editions. The Netherlands are not powerhouse again with this performance. Germany are no longer powerhouse again. Portugal, I don't know. It's sad. They should try and borrow a leaf from what France is doing. In every tournament that France participates, France have France are always having world-class players. I repeat, in every tournament the French team participates, they are always having world-class players. There's no tournament you will not see France having world-class players in their rank. There's no tournament. That's how solid France has been because their production line doesn't get dried up. France have the what? The Clairefontaine. Clairefontaine is the academy in France that produce players, upcoming players. Most of these French players all came from the Clairefontaine. The Olysses of this world, Mbappes of this world, Dembeles of this world, Turams of this world, Bacolas of this world, Desire Doué of this world. They all came from that Clairefontaine. If only Brazil, if only Germany, if only the Netherlands can follow this route. That's why I respect France a lot. There's hardly a tournament that you will see France with their arrays of stars, arrays of players, because they have the production line doesn't dry up, unlike what is obtainable in Brazil. Now that Neymar is leaving the national team, who is that player that has flair in the national team? None. They don't even have a replacement for Neymar. They don't even have it. That's how bad Brazil football and other football has been. It has been chaotic actually for the Seleção. Very disappointing actually. Very disappointing with some of the so-called big names in world football. So disappointing. To whom much is given, much is expected. That's the story of Portugal. To whom much is given, much is expected. Portugal having the so-called golden generation that was ungoldened in the World Cup. How do you explain to me a midfield trio that had Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes, João Neves playing rubbish at the World Cup, sideways pass? How do you explain to me that a player that broke the Premier League assist of the season could not add more than 1 assist in the World Cup for 5 matches? I repeat, how can you explain to me that a player that broke the Premier League assist record came to the World Cup and only had 1 assist? That was how bad Portugal was. How do you explain to me that a team that had Vitia, Joan Neves, who were one of the best players in Europe last season, came to this World Cup and start passing the ball backward, sideways, backward, sideways, backward, sideways? Can someone explain to me? Can someone explain to me? This is how bad the Portuguese team were. How can you explain to me that your best player at the World Cup was a left back, Nuno Mendes? That was the best player in the World Cup. For a team that had Joan Neves, for a team that had Vitinha, for a team that had Bruno Fernandes, the best player for a team that had Ronaldo, the best player in that team was a left back, Nuno Mendes. That was how embarrassing Portugal were. If not for the goalkeeper, Portugal would have been eliminated long ago. If not for Diogo Costa, they would have gone home since. I'm happy that Ronaldo has left the national team. He's supposed to have left the national team since. And the coach, Martinez, that couldn't take decision as you are the manager of this team. You don't take the bold decision. Ronaldo cannot play full 90 minutes. It's obvious. You're supposed to, that's why you are employed as a manager. In short, all the Portugal players in this World Cup, apart from Nuno Mendes, I scored them below 5. Apart from Nuno Mendes and the goalkeeper, Costa, and maybe and for the defender, what's his name again? I've forgotten the name of that defender. The rest are those junks. They let themselves down and they let their country down. It's sad and embarrassing. A team that had some kind of midfield couldn't even create any assists. I keep wondering, Vitia will hold the ball and he takes it back sideways, back sideways, back sideways. Vitia did not even add any forward pass at the World Cup. Vitia. He didn't even add any forward passes at the World Cup. And I keep asking, is it the same Vitia I watched at PSG? I keep asking. There was no forward pass from Vitia at the World Cup. Bruno Fernandes was even worse. No assists apart from that one assist he had against Uzbekistan. No forward play, no risky pass, no killer pass, nothing. And this was the player that broke the assist record in the Premier League. That's why sometimes I don't blame Roy Keane for always lashing out on Bruno Fernandes. To me, I don't see him as a world-class player. I repeat, I don't see Bruno Fernandes as a world-class player. I don't see him. I'm sorry, but as I don't see Bruno Fernandes as a world-class player. He only performs where he's the bigger fish in the pool. Take away Bruno Fernandes from Man U, he may not even do anything. That's why Roy Keane will always lash out at him. Before, I was one of those critics of Roy Keane based on the way he used to lash out at Bruno Fernandes. But after this World Cup, I now realized that Roy Keane was truthful. And I realized that what Roy Keane was saying was true. Bruno Fernandes is a player that plays in a team that is the bigger fish. He can't play for a team that has other bigger fish or fishes. It will flop. This is why I said that Bruno Fernandes, to me, he hasn't really done well for himself. He only shines at the theatre of dreams, Old Trafford. And it's sad that the golden generation of Portugal has been wasted by everything, by the players, by the coach. It's sad. So, guys, make sure you watch our videos. We're going to have a lot of live conversation. Later today, we're going to have another live this night. Make sure you watch our videos and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you like us, follow us. We're going to have live like this night. We're going to have another live this night precisely. So make sure you follow us. This is Enzo Ball. We get a back cover and some of this flop from the tournament I've mentioned: Germany, Portugal, the Netherlands, Brazil. These are the major flops for this World Cup. And for these players, the major disappointing players: Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Vitia, Joan Neves, Neymar. Not Neymar. I won't put Neymar. But these are the major disappointing players at this FIFA World Cup. It's sad. Ronaldo has played his final game for Portugal at the World Cup. No more World Cup for him. And for the other teams that are playing the quarterfinal, Argentina will be playing Switzerland in the quarterfinal. I know you guys are aware of that. Spain will be playing Belgium. France will play Morocco tonight. That's the match I want to watch. France versus Morocco. That's the match I want to watch. I wish Morocco wins, but France is going to be a tough one for them. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough, but I wish Morocco would win. It's going to be very tough. So, guys, I'm going to see you tonight for another live. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe to our share, like this our live, and share also. Thank you very much. One love.